Doral. This is your Mayor, CHRISTI Fraga, for another episode of In the City con CHRISTI. And today's a little different. We're actually outside of our city with a very special guest for Women's History Month. We are with our very own Miami-Dade County Mayor, Daniella Lavine Cava. Thank you for being a guest on In the City con CHRISTI. We've stepped out of Doral today, and thank you for receiving us in your office here in Miami-Dade County. And so we're really pleased to have you with us today.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
I love it. Español, un poquito de española. Eso le va a gustar mucho a mi gente de Doral.
Yeah. Hi, Doral. So happy to be here with your Madam Mayor. So wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So we're going to talk a little bit about In the City con CHRISTI is a podcast that we started for people to get to know all the amazing people that make up the greatest place to live, work, learn, and play, Doral. Obviously, the county has a big part of that because we are just a little gem inside this amazing county.
Yes.
That is, I think, such a highlight of Florida and South Florida and everything we're doing here. So I've got some fire questions for you. We're going to start with something that I know all of our viewers are going to tune in to see or to hear about, which is before we had set up, or actually before the Covanta fire happened, we had set up to do this already because I wanted you to be a guest for Women's History Month, being the first female mayor of Miami-Dade County. But I feel like we kind of have to address the elephant in the room.
For sure.
And we've gotten to work really closely, and I think we've gotten to know each other a lot more during this time as the unfortunate fire in Covanta. And first, I want to thank you because you reached out immediately and were just very communicative with what was going on and really made sure that Doral was at the table. And I appreciate that so much because it is something that affected our residents.
Of course.
And has been affecting our residents for many years. So I really appreciate the way the fire department responded, the way your office was really just accessible to you, have been extremely accessible to me and my office and my team. And so first, I want to say thank you. And I know I've said it in all the briefings, but I just want to say it publicly again. Thank you. We did the webinar. You were accessible and ready for that.
For sure.
And I think that that's such an important part of the public engagement, which is so important.
Yes. Well, as you say, this is of great concern to area residents, and public safety is always number one. We had a big problem. We had a fire that was not predicted or expected by anyone, and we needed to be sure that everyone was safe. So we mobilized quickly, we worked together, and fortunately, it's settling down.
Yes, absolutely, and we're pleased to see that the fire has subsided, mostly for almost 95%.
Yes.
Very, very little smoldering happening. Obviously, there's demolition of the building still going on. And so, what our residents are asking now, and I know that this is a deeper conversation we're going to have for the coming months, but is what are the next steps? What are the next steps that you are taking from your perspective as the county mayor? I know a lot of it does land on the county commission side, but I know that you've been a big proponent of the environment and recycling, and I actually posted something on Instagram later, which I want to share with you. It's a little electric composting kit for home. And I was like, I've shared it on my Instagram and I want to buy one, and you can put all of your, composting stuff, and it takes it and it shreds it. And I'm like, let's be part of the solution of how we produce waste. So tell me a little bit about what you see as the next steps.
Yes, well, for sure, we need to revisit how we deal with waste.
Right.
We are in confined space. We have landfills. They're filling up. We have limited lifetime there. This was one of the parts of our waste stream management, and we don't know what the future will hold. We're in the process of, first of all, of stabilizing and safety. That's number one.
Right.
Then we want to see what happened, what was the cause of this fire, and then we'll look at what are the future opportunities and possibilities.
Right.
And just to make sure your viewers know, your residents know, I did not advocate for this plant to continue beyond the immediate, right? We had to do something in the short term, but a longer term plan was the purpose of a study that was done. And without my agreement or involvement, a quick decision was made to continue the plant at this site. So I look forward to the opportunity to explore options. And also, I've been very clear, zero waste, that is the goal. We need to be modern, we need to be sustainable, we need to be informed, we need to recycle correctly, which we do not. We need to compost. I compost at my house. I produce very little garbage. I have 2 recycling bins and 1 garbage bin, just to be clear. That's what we do at my house, and most of it goes to the composting.
Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna start composting.
yeah.
I shared it on my,
Yeah, and
I bought one on Amazon. I'm gonna share it with you.
Right, and a lot of cities and counties do offer composting services. It's been looked at in the past. Well, it's going to be looked at again.
Awesome.
It is very, very important that we do everything possible to be responsible about waste.
Yeah, and we all produce it, right? It's
Yes.
very important that people
Yes.
recognize that trash you're producing is going somewhere.
Yes.
I don't think people really recognize it as much.
No.
So whatever we can do to support that,
Yeah,
we're
let me
happy to
mention
do
something
that.
here, just because it's such an irritant for me and it's
Yeah.
on my mind.
Yes.
I've been bicycling partway to work, and I go by a lot of bins. So I see that people are putting their recycles in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
That is a very big no-no.
Yeah.
No plastic bags in the recycling bin.
Yeah.
Not to group your items, so we have a one single stream, you put it all together, it sorts out. No plastic bags.
Yeah, I think it's an educational
Yes.
component, right?
Right.
That maybe we haven't done enough of, and so
Yes.
it's so important. So I'm glad you're taking this opportunity to do that, because the education side and whatever we
Yeah.
can do from the city side to help in
Please.
those education efforts, we want to do it. And let me tell you, there's a lot of countries that are so much more advanced than us in the recycling, and even I know
Yes.
Doral is such a diverse mix
Yeah.
of countries and communities and cultures, and even some of those countries are ahead of us on recycling.
No
And so a
question.
lot of them want to participate and they want to do it here. And so I think we have a great opportunity. But I look forward to being at the table in the discussions coming forward
Yes.
as to, I have to state it, and I know I've said it to you many, many times, and this is no shock to anybody or no surprise. Obviously, my advocacy is that the plant gets moved from Doral. Everybody, and it's funny because I've been talking to many of the county commissioners over the phone, and they're like, well, I don't understand why people are living, like why people chose to live there. And I said, well, it's kind of like moving the urban development boundary in a sense, right? The county is growing, and the county grew around that, and we should not have to face certain consequences because of decisions that were made before us.
Yes, and to be
So-
sure, we have a county commissioner for your area,
Yes.
the former mayor.
Yes,
who
who's
is-
advocating,
Who's
yeah.
really advocating, and
Yeah.
so we're looking forward to the conversation.
100%, 100%, and we're definitely gonna do our part to make sure that that's communicated. So we'll move on from the plans, and thank you for sharing your position, because it's so important for us to know that we have the support of your office in at least exploring those
Absolutely.
options, and at least exploring those
Absolutely.
options. So my next question for you is, you've now been in the role for 2 years as our first female mayor of the county. How do you feel that you've used this position to empower women in the community? And what do you look forward to continuing to do to empower women in our
Yes.
community?
So I'll say this, Mayor, I don't know for you, I know you're a good bit younger than I am, but I really never worried that I would not be taken seriously or not have opportunities because I was a woman. I never had that sense prior to coming into elected office. Now in elected office, I definitely see where people are not so used to that, especially at the level that I'm at. So what I find so wonderful is how many people see me as a role model for things they want to achieve. And my very favorite was the Girl Scout troop, where the first question, they were allowed to ask me any questions. It was a Zoom back a couple of years ago, and the question was, how does it feel to be the first girl mayor? So it just warms my heart to think
Yeah.
about it, because little girls come up to me on the street.
Yeah.
They're so excited that they have a girl mayor. So that means so much to me. So in my administration, I have elevated many, many women.
Awesome.
We have many more women department directors. My staff on the 29th floor is probably female-dominated, just because they were the best for the job, you
Yeah.
know? But for sure, we are creating pathways for opportunity.
Awesome, and I think that's so important. I'm a mom of a boy, so I'm always like, I'm not here to say we're a superior a superior species other than men, but I do think that there are many incredible women that have just talent. And so I did the same too coming in. You know, my city manager is a woman, our new city attorney is a woman. You know, we're just surrounded by incredible women. And I think that it's, you know, not to disparage the men who do great jobs too, but I just think that we're seeing how women can really take these roles and just, you know, do incredible things. For
Yeah.
me, it's also been a lot about mentoring, right? I feel that it's our job to mentor the youth, to
Yes,
mentor
yes,
young women. So
yes.
I always try and find where I can mentor and bring women up with me.
That's wonderful.
So
It's really,
I'm
really
glad to
great
see
to
that you've
know.
done that too, and I've met a lot of your team during this time, and they are incredible women and just
Yeah.
very dynamic and impressive.
I think the world is ready for more women leadership.
I love that pillow.
Oh, yeah.
A
Oh,
woman's place is in the White
oh,
House.
yeah. Well, there's that. I also have a Wonder Woman pillow, so I've
Yes, I
got
love that too.
a
I
lot of
saw it.
inspiring messages. But I just think that men can be empathetic, they can be caring and collaborative, but women often have those skills by virtue of their upbringing, etc. And those are skills that we need in
Yeah.
today's world.
Absolutely, 100%. So tell me a little bit about what legacy you're hoping to leave for Miami-Dade County besides zero waste.
Yes, yes.
What legacy do you look
Yeah.
at leaving for Miami-Dade County?
Well, I came into office not planned in a sense. I
Mm-hmm.
never intended to go into politics. So when I ran in 2014 to be county commissioner, it was to get some things done,
Mm-hmm.
and then re-election, and then finally mayor, to be able to do more things to
Right.
benefit our community. I have to say, first and foremost, is creating more trust in our government. I think that we are really losing civic engagement, civic interest. People just don't feel confidence so
Yeah.
often in their elected leaders nor in their administrations. So for me, it was about creating more opportunities for engagement, education, participation, and so I've brought a great deal of civic involvement to my work as mayor. And then as far as the concerns for the community, certainly I've always worked to create economic opportunity, broadly speaking, and I have always cared about making sure that that opportunity spread throughout all aspects of our community, and people who might not have had the same privileges and advantages that I've had would also be able to achieve the American dream. So
Yeah.
that has been a key driving force in my entire life. The environment. We live in paradise, but paradise has some perils facing it. And so I think I am an important messenger to help people understand that we have to
Right.
understand those challenges. We have to work together to do our very best to protect and preserve this beautiful place.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that there's more more receptiveness, especially from the generations coming after us, to understand that, to live that. I've found having conversation with younger generations than me is that our youth is not even wanting to drive anymore. They don't find it attractive. I remember turning 15 and running to get my restricted,
Yes.
and then 16, I think my car was sitting in the front driveway for like 2 weeks before I turned 16, ran to get my license, and felt like freedom was
Yeah,
having a car.
yeah,
Today,
yeah.
you don't see that as much.
Yeah.
And I find that interesting as I think about planning for the future, planning for our communities. How do I plan? How do I build? How do I grow for them,
You know,
for their generation?
I think it's what you're saying is so very important. As we plan for the future, we can't be looking back. We have to
Correct.
look to what are the challenges and
Yeah.
opportunities ahead. So I just came from a ribbon cutting for a brand new building on US 1 that is incredible. It's at workforce level. Across the street, there's a more affordable high-rise unit as well. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. It's right at the Metro Rail station. And I know you've been doing a lot with transit as well.
Trying, yes.
Congratulations in Doral. We have to have alternatives, and also if it's better for everyone. It's better for the environment.
Yes.
It's better for your budget. It's better for congestion.
Yeah.
So many ways. But we have to have good transit.
Right, and that's I think
Yeah.
the challenge that Miami-Dade
Yeah.
has faced for so
Yeah.
many years, and all of
Absolutely.
our communities have faced. But again, I'm optimistic about it. because I see that the generations coming after us, when they're taking a vehicle, it's because they have no other, it's because we haven't given them any other choice. I'll give you the example of even my husband. So my husband goes to Boca Raton a lot for a service he provides, and he takes Tri-Rail. So he'll drive from our house to the Tri-Rail station because it's too far to take an electric scooter. So he actually takes his electric scooter in the car. This is for real every day. Well, not every day because he doesn't go every day, but it's an on-call. They'll call him, like this week he's there all week. So he will take the scooter in his car. He'll drive to the Tri-Rail station, take the scooter on the Tri-Rail, then he'll scooter from the Tri-Rail to his place of work. They have a vehicle for him. He'll use that in the city, and he goes to Boca, and then he takes the scooter back, and then uses Tri-Rail. And he's like, I actually really enjoy taking public transportation. I feel that it frees up his time. When he's on the Tri-Rail, he'll do some work. He'll even take a nap if he needs to. And so I think that there's a lot of people willing to do it if it was more efficient. And I think that's the challenge we've faced as a county.
Well, I want to mention Doral is in so many ways a model city.
Yeah, thank you.
Because you really have gotten that density down, not excessive,
right,
but where you have enough people to support some better local transit.
Yes.
And amenities that people like.
Yeah.
So I think you set a really good example.
Yeah, thank you. And we're looking at, obviously, the workforce housing is something that the entire county is looking at because we are having displacement of our workforce, of our young population that's graduating and having to live with mom and dad till they're in their mid-30s, and they want to go out on their own, and they're not finding those opportunities. So we're looking at that option. I'm looking at senior living. I think that multi-generational community needs to look at those multi-generational opportunities that exist. So I look forward to continuing to work with the county on all those projects. So what are the challenges that the county faces next? Like, what do you see the biggest challenges for the county 4 years out, 5 years, 10 years? What do you see the biggest challenges for this county being?
Yeah. Well, I do want to mention public safety.
Yeah.
So we have done very well, and I imagine in Doral as well. Your crime rate must be quite low.
Yes. We actually, right now, I'm going to mention this, it's like a little to my 100 days in office, but we've closed more cases in just the past 60 days than we have in many, many years, and it's because we've gotten very, very strict that we have a zero tolerance for crime. And, we're lucky. We've got I don't want to say petty crime because this is the crime that does impact our community, but like car thefts and burglaries, and it's that that I always say it's a false sense of security that we live in closed communities. So a lot of these criminals are looking for these communities because they know people leave their car open, leave the garage door open or in their car that's open, and so they can get in. And so this type of theft is very attractive to these criminals in our type of community because of the safe environment we create. But we are making sure to prosecute and be very, very, follow through with these crimes.
So we have also in the county a great police department, and we were this morning with the city as well on a project that they're doing that has national recognition, really bringing down crime and also solving crimes.
Right.
So I feel very positive about that. And I bring it up because I think it also relates to shared prosperity. So we want the new jobs that are coming with all of the people that discovered us during the pandemic and brought their businesses and brought their families and their friends. We want to be sure that all of that economic growth benefits our local community and that people are not on the fringe economically and are not turning to a life of crime.
Right.
So we really are doing a lot, and I think that is a longer-term concern, to make sure that we have the proper educational programs and pipeline to get folks into the jobs of the future. And that's why we created Future Ready as our economic development approach, which focuses on pipeline of the workforce, also small businesses, which are still the backbone of our economy.
Absolutely.
And making sure that they get the goods, that they get the contracts and the procurement opportunities, and then innovation, because we are naturally innovative in this community, but we need to support that innovation to grow, and we'll be creating a brand new platform called the Miami-Dade Innovation Authority, which will provide seed grants through a nonprofit, but the county is putting money into the pot to fund solutions to our problems, whether it's
Awesome.
housing or traffic or environmental challenges. And the idea would be to test pilot these, and if they're successful, to move forward with county procurement or other large procurement.
Excellent, excellent. I think that's so important for as we grow, and like you said, so many people that have moved to the county, talking the public safety side. I think that when people move to a community, they're looking at safety, their location, where they're gonna if they're gonna get the
Yeah.
work, obviously
And-
housing,
And, I was going to say, and where they live.
and where they're gonna live.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
which is our
with-
biggest. I think that's one of
It
our
is
biggest
our
challenge.
current biggest challenge, and I
Yeah.
have put a lot of time and attention into the housing situation. We launched the Homes Plan, which puts us an extraordinary amount of new funding. Thankfully, both because our economy is growing and also because of federal dollars, we were able to put a total of $500 million into housing programs this year, with many subsidies and development dollars and eviction prevention, many, many things that are helping to stabilize the housing market. But long term, we need more supply. We need to build aggressively in a price range that people can afford so that they can stay here.
The challenge with that, I find in my community, is the education component of saying, people are worried about traffic,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so we go back to what we were discussing.
Well,
which is the
transit-oriented development is
right.
good.
And then just encouraging people to ride share, to take,
Yes,
to
yes.
take, alternative forms of transportation
Right,
that
right.
do exist, that maybe aren't so convenient at first,
Yes.
but can become more convenient.
So your husband uses the scooter
Yep.
to the tri-rail.
Yep.
My husband and I have been riding bikes.
Yes.
So
Good.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
It's good for us. It's good for the environment.
We got to set the example.
We have to. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't take a scooter to work, but but he does it, so it's a good example.
Yeah.
It's a good example. I have to find one with a little fan or something. No, luckily we've had great weather lately, and so it is
Yeah.
it is nice to do it during this time. Our biggest challenge is we are South Florida too, right?
Well,
so
and to go to weather, of
Yeah.
course, the temperatures are rising.
Yeah.
And the seas as well. So we do definitely have some, I'm calling them existential challenges. And we have to really organize ourselves around that to understand that we can play our part, and we also have to build smarter
Yeah.
and look ahead to how we're
Yeah.
going to cope with those changes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that that we've got a lot of work ahead of us.
Yes.
I think we've got a lot of great opportunity in this county. It's a it's ever evolving. I talk about that in my community as well. It's Doral's ever evolving. We've got such a great community that's engaged, very engaged,
Yes,
very
yes,
vocal, which I
yes.
think is great. Very diverse. Culture is a big thing for us, right? We're really trying to showcase the cultural aspect of it. We're building an amphitheater now in Doral, which will be like the new West Dade. I think it's the only one in the West Dade
Yeah,
area. It's
that's
going to be
great.
beautiful. It'll hold about 600 people to 800 people seated, and about 3,500 max, like in the open green area. So we look forward to being
great.
able to host, those type of events within Miami-Dade County
I'll
in
look
Doral.
forward to it,
Yes, so we
yes.
expect you to be there. We'll
Yeah.
be cutting the ribbon next year in the summer. So I think there's great things happening in Doral. Doral is definitely, I think, a community that has highlighted a lot of what Miami-Dade County is about. And so we look forward to the county really taking the gem that's Doral inside the county and continuing to elevate it and use us to, to
Sure,
move
sure.
forward. It's a great community with so much economic engine
Yes.
and drive.
Yeah.
We've got the largest flower industry.
I-
Like 90% of the flowers that come into Miami-Dade, the United States come through Doral, which is through the county. So we just became Flower City, USA. I don't know if you know.
No, I did not know
Yes,
that.
so we're going to be doing an exhibition with all these floral designers during Art Basel in our cultural
Oh,
center.
that sounds fabulous.
So yes, we did it a couple years ago, but then COVID happened, and so I'm trying to bring it back this year. And I think it's a great way to highlight just an industry that's so prominent in
Yes,
Doral
yes.
and tie it with Art Basel. So we
That's-
invite you to come and check it out.
Well,
and I'll
I
make sure
have
to
been
send that.
to many events,
Yes.
wonderful events in Doral.
Yes.
There are 34 cities in
Yes,
the
I
county,
know.
so I love them
Tried-
all equally.
Equally.
But I
Well,
do
I'm
brag
gonna
about
highlight Doral a little bit more because, this is in the city con Cristi for Doral. So
But I definitely
Yes,
brag about
I know.
so many of the
Yes,
good things
yes.
happening
We
in
got great
Doral.
things going on.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Mayor, for sharing some time with us. Very much appreciated. I look forward to continuing to work with the county, with your office on the amazing things that are to come. Hopefully facing those challenges that we have that impact our community to find solutions. I know with 2 women at the helm, we can get it done, right?
Definitely.
We
Thank
can
you
get it
so
done.
much, Chris.
Thank you. Anything you want to share with our viewers before we finish? Any message you want to send to Doral, to our Doral viewers?
Well, we're proud of you, Doral. You are definitely engaged. That is most important. And we look to you to continue to engage not only with your city, but to the county. We really want to hear from you on a range of issues, not only on the
Yes.
waste-to-energy plant, because we really care about your voices and how we can support you to have a better quality of life. And so thank you. Thank you for letting me be part of this show.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Daniella Lavine Cava. I'm your Mayor, CHRISTI Fraga, for Doral. And tune in next time where you get to learn all about the incredible people that make up the greatest place to live, work, learn, and play, Doral.
All right. Okay.